All right. Picture a tiny middle school lunchroom. And it's tiny because I attended a tiny Christian school in Alabama. And one day in this tiny middle school lunchroom, a girl named Sarah Hammock pulls me behind the snack machine conspiratorially and then talks to me with her braces-filled mouth. Julie, the Lord laid it on my heart to speak to you. You think you're being really funny when you say sarcastic things to people, but it hurts them. And I thought you should know that. Now, I had been saved, but I was skeptical of what the Lord had laid on a 12-year-old's heart. But I asked, what would Jesus do? And responded calmly, thank you for telling me that, Sarah. In high school, I got my own braces-filled mouth, but with a twist. I had rubber bands connecting my front teeth top to bottom, so when I opened my mouth, they stretched like rubber fangs. So one day in algebra class, someone yelled, Julie looks like a monster, and everyone erupted in laughter. So I turned calmly to my antagonist and said, why do I care what you think? I will move on, and you will all stay here and be the rednecks I tell my friends about. I was not particularly popular. Now, I do care about people. I do have emotions, but not the kind that bubble over in excitement or anguish. I'm not sensitive, and I have a hard time understanding people that are. I didn't think I was a monster, but maybe monster adjacent. Different. We'll go with different. So I went away to college, learned how to appear normal, and lost my religion. So 2010, I was 26, living in South Carolina, 2 hours away from my grandparents in Atlanta, Georgia. One day my mom calls and she said, hey, grandma's not feeling well, can you go visit her? Now, grandma was a large and feisty woman. A few years before, she had been in the middle of an actual heart attack and refused to let Granddad take her to the hospital until the roast was out of the oven. And no ambulances were allowed because what would the neighbors say? So I arrived at Grandma's house, and she was upstairs in bed, and I went and sat down next to her on the floor, chattering, keeping her company. And then she threw off the covers and ran to the bathroom. And she left a trail of weird-looking diarrhea. And she was mortified and said, don't come in the bathroom, don't come in. But I knew this was not just sick. So Grandma and I had a calm talk. I got off the phone with my aunt. We think you should check this out. Don't worry, I won't call the ambulance. And I'll help you. And we went to the hospital. It was cancer, pancreatic, untreatable. The doctor said maybe a couple months, so we just went home. Now, beneath her tough exterior, my grandmother was quite sensitive. When I was 7, she pulled me aside and said, hey, I'm sorry if I made you feel bad for bringing your friend to our family vacation. I didn't realize how lonely you could have been. And will you forgive me? My grandmother apologized to me, and I will never forget that. I stayed to help Grandma, and one night my aunt cornered me. She was frantic, said, I don't know what to do. Grandma's so afraid. What do I do? And I couldn't regurgitate all the Jesus stuff with her, so I did what I always do. I stayed calm, and I said, Grandma's surrounded by people that love her. That's the best way any of us can hope to go through this. And I held my aunt while she cried. And Grandma did her best, but one day again she ran to the bathroom, and I cleaned up the trail of diarrhea and waited outside the door. But this time she said, I need help. And it was a little bit weird seeing my tough grandma with her pants down, but I stayed calm and pretended like it was the most normal thing in the world to wipe my grandma's big butt. So we started talking about long-term care options, and someone suggested my sister, and my grandma said, will she be like Julie? Is she like Julie? My family said, yes, it's okay. Take the flight that you've postponed 3 times. We have time. Grandma has time. So I said goodbye. I'll be back soon. And Grandma died the day I landed. So I flew back for the funeral, heartbroken. And my grandma was awesome, and I'm kind of terrible, but I have learned something. I'm not the disconnected person, sometimes monster that I thought I was. Sometimes people need emotion, and sometimes they need big reactions, and sometimes people just need calm.